Hello, first grade. It was so great to see your faces on the Zoom call and to be able to discuss our weekly story with some of you. That was really fun. And I got lots of great work already from a lot of you. Good job. Keep up the good work. I'm so proud of you guys. Today I'm going to be reading with you our Read Aloud for the week, which is a really fun story about a rattlesnake, and I know some of you will love that, and a rabbit and a coyote. Okay? So after I read that, we're going to talk about our vocabulary words for the week that go with our story. And we're also going to be talking about our main skill in reading, which is learning or understanding the characters in the story. And you also have a writing assignment to do with this story, so make sure that you listen carefully as I read it, okay? Señor Coyote, the Judge. Once upon a time, on a day when the sun blazed in the sky, Señor Rattlesnake slid out of his cool hole in the ground. He slithered around the cactus blossoms and stretched out to nap on the hot desert sand. He was almost asleep when a large stone rolled down the mountainside and landed right on him. Señor Rattlesnake didn't know what to do. He wiggled and squiggled, but it was no use. Señor Rattlesnake was hopelessly, helplessly trapped. Nearby, Señor Rabbit was napping in a cool mountain cavern. He woke up to the sounds of Señor Rattlesnake's hissing and rattling. Señor Rabbit hopped out of the shady cavern and into the bright sunlight. He blinked his eyes, carefully crept out onto the rocky ledge, and looked over the side. He saw Señor Rattlesnake wiggling in the sun. Señor Rabbit hurried down the mountain and up to the snake. Señor Rattlesnake, why are you lugging that heavy stone on your back? He asked. Why are you taking it? Where are you taking it? I am not lugging it anywhere, groaned the snake. I am trapped and need help. Now get this stone off of me. Señor Rabbit was a kind creature. He sat and placed his big feet against the stone. He pushed and pressed, then he pushed some more. Finally, the heavy stone rolled away. Thank you, Señor Rabbit, hissed the snake. Such a good deed deserves a reward. I was glad to help, said the rabbit. I don't need a reward. Yes, you do, hissed Señor Rattlesnake, rattling his tail. What? Cried Señor Rabbit. I just saved your life. Yes, you did, and for your reward, I will eat you for my supper. Poor Señor Rabbit was too frightened to run. He just sat there as Señor Rattlesnake prepared to strike. Just then, Señor Coyote strolled by. What is going on here? He asked. The rabbit and the snake both began to speak at once. Wait, shouted Señor Coyote. Speak one at a time. Señor Rabbit, you speak first. Señor Rattlesnake was trapped under the stone, said the rabbit. He asked for my help. Then after I pushed away the stone, he said he will reward me by eating me. Not true, hissed the snake. I crawled into a shallow space under the stone. I wanted to trick Señor Rabbit to catch him for my supper. Señor Coyote scratched his head. Let me think for a minute, he said. Since you both agree that Señor Rattlesnake was under this stone, it is only fair that he crawl under it so I can see how things were, said Señor Coyote. Ah, but the stone has been moved, hissed Señor Rattlesnake. I can't crawl under it. You will have to roll it onto me. So Señor Coyote rolled the heavy stone onto the snake and asked, Is this how you were? Yes, hissed Señor Rattlesnake. Now take it off. I have a better plan, said Señor Coyote. You stay under that stone. It is your reward for trying to trick someone who helped you. Good day, Señor Rattlesnake. And that's the end of the story. All right. So what is Señor Rattlesnake's problem at the beginning of the story? This is going back to last week's skill. Well, we know that his problem was that he got a big heavy stone that rolled on top of him and he couldn't get it off. And how would you describe Señor Coyote? Señor Coyote was, well, he was a friend to the rabbit, and he helped the rabbit. And he helped the rabbit to escape from the rattlesnake, okay? And he uses the rattlesnake's own lies to trick him into leaving Señor Rabbit in peace. Okay, and what is a lesson you think the author wants you to learn? Probably just to be nice, especially to people who help you, would be a really good lesson that we could learn. All right, so in our story, we have these words, okay? we had the word blossoms. In our story, it said he slithered around the cactus blossoms and stretched out to nap on the hot desert sand. And we've learned that blossoms come before the fruit on a tree. That's right, from last week's story even. So we know what the word blossoms is. And what is a cavern? Well, if you look at the word, it actually has the word cave in it. It'd be very similar to a cave where there's a hole in the side of a mountain. And that's where Señor Rabbit was sleeping and he was having his nap. Shady. The word shady has the word shade in it. Or the word, you could say even the word shadow. And shade comes from something making a shadow that makes it dark and cool and a nice place to hide from the hot, hot sun, especially in a desert. And we had the word ledge. The sentence in our story was, he blinked his eyes, carefully crept out onto the rocky ledge and looked over the side. And a ledge is like a flat space, like a shelf sticking out of the side of the mountain, which is why I drew this little picture here. This is my little mountain, but if you see here, you can see that I drew a kind of a flat part on the mountain. And that is what we would say is a ledge. And then we had the word lugging. In our story it says, Señor Rattlesnake, why are you lugging that heavy stone on your back? Well, lugging means to carry a heavy load. And then the last word we have is shallow. I crawled into a shallow space under the rock. That was Señor Rattlesnake that said that. Well, something shallow is something that's not deep. Okay, so if there's a small hole in the ground, it would be a shallow hole. So those are our 6 vocabulary words that go with our story today. Now I'm going to quickly erase these words. And I want you to be thinking about who are the characters in this story. And I know some of you will be itching to tell me, and you probably wish you could tell me. I think you probably all know their names. Okay, so we have, our first character is the rattlesnake. And then the second character we meet is, I'm going to put him down here. We have Mr. Rabbit. And then the third character in our story is Mr. Coyote. All right. So this week what we're thinking about is who are the characters in a story and what are they like? And we talked about even today in our Zoom meeting that you can learn about the characters by 2 things. One is what they say, and 2 is what they do. Okay, so I want you to be thinking about that. What does the rattlesnake say to Mr. Rabbit? What does he demand? Well, he demands that Mr. Rabbit help him. Okay, so we could say that the rattlesnake is demanding. And I know a lot of you will be saying, Miss, the rattlesnake is mean. He was mean. And he was a trickster. And if you go back to our Bible stories, I don't know if any of you will remember, who was the man that was always tricking people and eventually he got tricked? That's right, Jacob. He was our trickster in our Bible stories. All right, what about Mr. Rabbit? Our story tells us that Mr. Rabbit is kind. And we know this because he was willing to help the rattlesnake. He was kind and he was a helper. We'll say a helper. Okay? And Mr. Coyote? What about Mr. Coyote? What do we learn about Mr. Coyote's actions? We learn that he was fair because he knew that the rattlesnake was trying to trick the rabbit. Okay? And we could say even that he was kind. He was kind to help the rabbit. He didn't have to help the rabbit. He could have let the rattlesnake eat the rabbit, but he didn't. He was kind to the rabbit. Okay? And we could say that he was smart because he was able to trick the rattlesnake by using the rattlesnake's own lies. All right, so your writing assignment for today is to write 4 to 5 sentences about what you think happened in the rest of the story. What do you think Mr. Rabbit did the rest of that day, and how do you think he felt? So tell me that in 4 to 5 sentences, and you need to have that sent to me by Wednesday. All right, have a great day, first grade.